Welcome to the Who Knew podcast with Bruce Lubin. I'm Jennifer Boudneau, the editor of the Who Knew books. Today, we're going to tell you how to save your dying houseplants. If you have plants in your house or you're thinking of getting plants in your house, you're going to want to hear these. We also have another great money-saving tip from the Penny Hoarder and our life hack lightning round. But before I go on,
remember when you first moved into your home, and at the time you had a million ideas to fix it up? Well, this President's Day weekend, you can cross one project off your list with the help of SelectBlinds.com. They're running an amazing sale on high-quality blinds, shades, and shutters. So shop the President's Day sale today at SelectBlinds.com. Remember to mention you heard about them on a podcast at checkout. That's SelectBlinds.com.
Hi, Bruce.
Hello, Jen.
How are you?
I'm great. How you doing?
I'm doing good. You know, my parents recently moved from Illinois to California, as you know, and I inherited a lot of my mom's houseplants. So I have to admit, as the person who decides the topics for the podcast, I wanted to hear some of your houseplant tips because I've got an apartment full of houseplants now, and I can't let them die.
No. And of course, when you transport them, a lot of times they just want to die.
Well, and there was one plant that, you know, dropped a bunch of its leaves, is it called? It was like, I don't like this, and it just, all of its leaves fell off. But it's starting to get better, and so far I'm keeping them alive. My cats are really surprised that I am not letting them chew the houseplants because I'm a really bad cat mom. Like, I just kind of let them get away with everything. But they are not going to kill my mom's plants. Some of those plants are literally older than I am. So if she comes to visit and they're not looking good, I'm going to feel like a terrible daughter.
It's a real incident.
So I have more to tell you about my new brood of houseplants.
But before we go on, I wanted to tell you more about our sponsor this week. Cross one home improvement project off your list this President's Day weekend with the help of SelectBlinds.com by shopping their President's Day sale on high-quality custom blinds, shades, and shutters. With Select Blinds, do-it-yourself doesn't have to mean you do it alone. If you can hang a picture, you can hang your own blinds. And if you need their specialists, they'll walk you through how to measure, choose, and install your new window coverings. Select Blinds' intuitive site made it easy for me to find the perfect style, color, and size for my own windows. It really is the simple and smart way to get blinds. Shop the President's Day sale today at SelectBlinds.com for amazing deals on blinds, shades, and shutters. Mention you heard about them on a podcast at checkout and get sample swatches of the room-darkening blinds or shades of your choice. Absolutely free. That's SelectBlinds.com. SelectBlinds.com.
God, I love Select Blinds.
Who doesn't?
You actually have Select Blinds. I gotta check them out. They're great.
Yeah.
So first things first today, we have our friends at the pennyhoarder.com who are always giving us great money-saving tips because you and I and Jeannie are good at the making your life sort of quicker and easier, and we always have money-saving stuff, but there's something about the Penny Hoarder that they've always got
they sure do.
The right thing at the right time.
They do.
Hey everybody, it's Lisa from thepennyhoarder.com, and I'm here with today's money hack. It's time to prove you can take care of a living thing other than yourself. Grab a resilient houseplant like a snake plant or jade for a few bucks at your local garden shop. You can actually order plants from Amazon too. I've done it, and some of them actually offer Prime delivery. Choose an attractive pot or DIY your own. Just spray paint a coffee can a cheery color. No matter how haphazardly decorated, nothing makes a home look pulled together in a flash, quite like a flourishing houseplant. The extra oxygen won't hurt you either. For more tips, visit thepennyhoarder.com.
That's a great tip. And I want to add something to our friends at Penny Hoarder. So when you're buying houseplants, you should really buy them now or in the early spring because they can be up to 20 to 60% cheaper than they will be later in the year.
Oh.
And a way better selection right now.
Oh,
so
good to know.
Absolutely, it is.
So some people are thinking about moving outdoors is the time to get your houseplants.
Now it is. Now it is. And so let's talk about how do you maintain your houseplants. So I'm thinking of your sad houseplants home alone with your cats. And I will say something to you. You don't know if your cats are trashing the plants, by the way, when you're away. So what you want to do to keep your cats out of houseplants is just put some orange peels or coffee grounds.
Yes.
In the dirt.
Yes.
And your cat will be like, wait, what happened here? I am not going near this.
Well, and that's a great tip, especially if your cat is using the houseplant as a litter box.
Yeah,
which,
that's
of course,
awkward
is
then,
the last
isn't it?
thing you want to do.
Right.
If they're chewing the leaves, which what my cats do just for attention, I go the old spray bottle route.
Yep.
That's what seems to work for them.
Speaking of spraying your plants, when you water them, you always want to use lukewarm water because the cold water can actually really shock them.
Oh.
And if you've got a problem with insects, just take some lukewarm water, like a quart of it, put a few tablespoons of dry laundry soap, shake it up, and just spray it onto the plants.
Well, this is what I wanted to talk to you about is the bugs.
Yeah.
Because this was not one of my mom's plants, but I bought I got into the plant thing. I was like, oh, wow, look at me, you know. So I bought a little succulent that was cute, and it was infested with what is known as these, peat moss flies.
Yep, sure, of course.
And so they were really annoying because they're just these tiny little flies, but then they're all over your house, and you're trying to sleep, and they're like in front of your face, and you're, you know. So I had to use some who knew wisdom to get rid of the flies. And they were very similar to gnats. In fact, they might actually be gnats. And so the old who knew trick, like I have to tell you, about gnats is that if you get a bowl of apple cider vinegar and put that out, and then you add a little drop of dishwashing detergent. I think this is one we've talked about on the podcast before too, but it's also one that's magical and works every time. Because I put those bowls of cider vinegar out.
Yep.
Next to the plants, and they eventually, I guess because the apple cider vinegar smells like decomposing peat.
It's too damn tempting for the gnats.
Yeah.
Right. They go
exactly.
to their reward. Yep.
Yes, they dive bomb in there. I had a whole bowl full of dead gnats that I texted you and told you that I was thinking about you. It's a true story.
Yeah, well, thank you.
Our readers think that I would not actually text someone a photo of dead gnats, but I did. And then on top of that, I got a spray bottle of half water and half rubbing alcohol, and then I can spray that on them, and that gets rid of them without, having nasty bug spray trying to spray it all over the place. But that was how I ultimately got rid of my peat moss fly problem. So I have to thank you and Jeannie.
Oh, well, listen,
that.
I'm just glad I'm here for you and your dead gnats. So. Yeah, rubbing alcohol works. Also, if you have like really cheap vodka, put a little bit of that, like 1 part to 3 or 4 parts water. You can spray your plant and they will die.
Yeah.
Happily, but they will die.
Yeah.
Another thing you could do if you've got, any sort of other bugs, just take your plants and put them in a dry cleaning bag. And put a few mothballs in with it.
Yes, this was going to be my final solution if the apple cider vinegar didn't work. Yeah.
It's actually great, particularly when you said you transported your plants from Illinois. If they are a little bit sort of shell shocked, you create like a little bit of a terrarium atmosphere with the plastic bag, so it helps them acclimate. You put it in the sun. They love that. If you throw some mothballs in, any bugs will die. So
that's a good one.
There you go.
So can I ask you, how do I know if I'm watering my plant too much? Because that was another thing with these little peat flies is that you can't overwater your plant because they like the wet soil on the top. So I just kind of stopped watering the plants, and then I was afraid I wasn't watering them enough, and I never know.
So you know the trick when you're like cooking a cake, when you're baking a cake, you put a toothpick in, and if you take it out, it's got a little bit of dough on it, you have to bake a little bit longer. Yeah. So it's sort of the same with houseplants, only you want to use a pencil. So you poke a pencil into the dirt and pull it back out. If it's clean, it means water some more. If there's dirt on it, it means you're okay for now. Oh. So all you need is a pencil. I love pencil. That's all you need.
Any other plant tips for us?
A great way, you don't have to spend money on plant food. What you can use is either flat club soda, you can use pasta water, you can use potato water. Anything like that will really, really feed your plants.
Oh, yes. And as you told us in our last podcast, there's always stale beer from your big game party to use.
And under our disgusting but true facts, if you have fish, your fish tank water is filled with nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium. It's
yeah.
great
Fish
to
poop.
use.
Fish poop.
Well, that's not an awkward way of putting it. Yes, that's indelicate, but yes, fish poop. So it's great.
Yeah,
That's
there's a lot
great-
of weird things. If you Google, you and Jeannie did a post on this recently, 6 things you didn't know you could fertilize your house plants. So you can search for that on the internet or go to quickanddirtytips.com/who knew, and that's there. As well as your recent post, how to save a dying house plant.
Exactly.
So do you have any
right.
tips for us in that regard? One that I thought was really interesting was that you shouldn't keep your plants in drafty
Right.
areas. That you know,
Right.
it kind of makes sense not to keep them in cold areas because they like the warmth better. But I didn't
Yep.
realize that even putting them near a door where the temperature is going to fluctuate can.
Yeah, no, they don't love that at
Yeah.
all. What they all need is light, and in winter, light is scarce. So you want to put them on a table. Use some aluminum foil underneath it, shiny side up. Put it as close to the light as you can, and the light will reflect in the foil, and that will really help.
Yeah, that's a great one, as well as making sure to use your bug sprays and keeping them fertilized. I have a list here of if you're in the market for a new plant, plants that do the best to naturally clean your air. I thought this was
terrific.
really interesting because
Yep.
then you don't need an air purifier if your plants are doing it for you. So it said the best ones from this list that we found were rubber trees, corn plants. I have both of those, by the way. Bamboo palm, a ficus, mums, English ivy, peace lilies, and philodendrons. Did I say that right? Philodendrons.
Sure, absolutely. No, those are great. Those are great choices. I will tell you, with the rubber trees, if you've got a plant that has really big leaves, they get really dusty.
Yeah.
And there's a couple of ways you can clean them, but the easiest way, and you kind of look like a freak, but who cares because it works, is to use the inside of a banana peel. And just sort of rub them against the leaves, and they will be shiny.
Because God forbid I eat a banana and then not do anything with the peel
that's
before I throw it
exactly
away.
right.
That would not be the Who Knew way.
No, that would be a real problem. So that's one of the things you
So I'll
want to do.
go over and clean my plant with it.
And
So-
here's a great tip. If you've got smaller plants and you water them, the water comes out of the bottom.
Yeah.
When you pot them, you want to use dryer lint in the bottom of the pot.
Dryer lint.
Dryer lint.
Oh, that's a good one. I've used tea bags before. I put a little tea bag over the hole because that will, it'll slip
that's
through
good too.
part way.
I was going to say leftover dryer lint, but really isn't all dryer lint kind of left over
Yeah, I
when you
think it
think
is.
about it, Jan?
I think it is.
So that's something you should always remember that.
Those are great. So I think that's the end of our house plant tips. Do you have any other ones? Should we move on to
Let's move on.
So what does Jeannie have for us today in the life hack lightning round? For those who don't know, Jeannie puts an name of an object in an envelope, Bruce opens it up, and then we name as many tips as we can about that object in a lightning-esque fashion.
Oh, so this is kind of interesting.
What does it
so
say?
So this is rubber, both bands and gloves. So rubber bands and rubber gloves.
Oh,
Look
okay.
at Jeannie sort of mixing it up today.
Yeah.
So you want to go first?
I'm going to go first. I'll go first. This is a tip for putting rubber gloves on. If you sprinkle a little bit of baby powder, or if you don't have baby powder, you can use flour or baking soda and just sprinkle it in the gloves, and it'll make it easier to put them on and off. And also, you won't get that sweaty feeling when you sweat in the rubber gloves.
That's a great tip.
It's no good.
So when you have your rubber gloves on, what you can do is, if you have a pet, that has shed, just go over the furniture, the couch where there's the hair with the rubber gloves, and it will really collect all of the hair.
Yeah, if you've ever tried to get hair off of a chair or upholstery using just your hand, it seems to work a little bit better than other methods. And the rubber glove is really the best. I mean, it just comes right off in a second. I love that one.
It's also great, a rubber glove, if you've got a broken light bulb and you want to just, take it out. If you wear a rubber glove, you're not going to get shocked and you're not going to get cut. So it's a simple, easy way to remove broken light bulbs.
You just did 2 in a row, but that one was pretty lame.
Sorry about that. Then you go.
All right, so we've got rubber bands also. You can actually make a rubber glove into a rubber band. Like if you have rubber glove that is too old, cut off the very end of it, so it's just sort of like where you would put your hand through, and it makes these really big rubber bands that are good for like big stacks of paper or other stuff that you might want a giant rubber band for. I don't know, to fling around your house. But
here's something you would want a giant rubber band for. So when your kids go off to school, and like my kids when they were little would never eat whole apples. They just wouldn't bite into them for some reason, but they would eat sliced apples. So if you slice an apple and then just leave it in the form of the apple and just secure it with a rubber band,
Yeah, that's
it
a
doesn't
great one.
brown.
Yeah.
It doesn't brown. So it just
It's
and
like
then
a
they
little
just-
apple puzzle.
It's like a little apple puzzle. Exactly right. And then
I've
they
got
just-
another one for rubber bands. If you're to keep your wine glasses from getting banged around too much in the dishwasher,
Oh, yes.
rubber band the stems to the the rack in the dishwasher.
Oh,
and
that's
it'll
such a
keeps
good
them-
idea. That's
yeah, keeps them
exactly right.
sturdy.
Also, rubber bands, if you've got like a screw that's been stripped down, if you just put a little rubber band into the hole and then you can put the screw right back in.
Yes,
and it really
and
works.
grips.
Same as popcorn, packing popcorn. Although that is not our lightning round today, it is rubber bands.
Maybe
but
it
that
should
does
be
work.
sometime. Tell Jeannie that
Do you
one.
have any others? I think
I
you
don't.
won.
I think you won Life Hack
won.
Lightning Round again, twice
Fantastic.
in a
It's a
row.
great day.
This is humiliating for me, but I guess you are the master.
Yeah,
so,
that's me.
So I'll live. Thanks, Bruce, and thanks so much to everyone else for listening to us today. For these tips and more, visit quickanddirtytips.com/who knew. You can find all of these tips plus all sorts of great content from Quick and Dirty Tips. And you can find us on Facebook, Pinterest, Twitter, Instagram, and every other social network ever invented. Just search Who Knew Tips. And of course, if you love our podcast, please write us a review because we love reviews more than anything. And it helps people find our
us.
show
Yep.
and learn more about us. And that's great for us. So thanks again, and stay tuned for next week. We have a very special guest next time.
Bye-bye, everyone. Yep, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, see you then.